Alright guys and gals, Ripsy Thun here, and I'm here to say that the Chocolate Ladies Commotion event is now active. I would like to call it the Valentine's event, but seeing as it's going to end before Valentine's Day, I feel as though that would be pretty much a lie. So, without further ado, let's go over how this event's going to go down. Let's take our example servant, Tamama no Mae. Tamama no Mae is of the Caster class. So, in this event, we're going to be looking for Caster Choco Coins in order to be trying to get her Valentine's Chocolate Crafting Essence. So there will be certain days on which classes yield a higher chocolate-based coin drop. So throughout the event, let's say we collect 150 Caster-based Choco Coins. Now once we collect 150 of the Choco Coins, we can take them to the event store and then trade them in for the Valentine's Chocolate Crafting Essence event crafting essence for that servant. Now, once we have that crafting essence equipped to a servant, it will increase the Choco Coin yield by 2 for that specific servant's class, in this case being Caster class. Now there will also be other crafting essence which will also increase Choco Coin yield. The first up will be Valentine Dojo of Tears, which will increase Choco Coin yield by 1. It will boast a no evade and a 3% Noble Phantasm charge every turn, but it will give you a debuff resistance of 10%. Next up will be the Melty Sweetheart Crafting Essence, will increase Choco Coins yield for all classes by 2. It will boast a 100% increase to defense against males and a crit generation increase of 10%. Third up will be Kitchen Pastière, which will increase the Choco Coin yield by 3, and it will boast a crit generation upgrade of 15%, as well as a Noble Phantasm generation upgrade of 15% as well. Lastly up will be the Street Choco Maid. It will increase art and quick performance by 10%, and an additional 20% healing will be received. Now, already saying this outright, so these three crafting essence being Valentine Dojo of Tears, Kitchen Pastière, and Street Choco Mage, which will be in the Summoning Gacha, these already fulfill 4 of the 6 categories for Summoning. So they are already placed in the Really 1 category, so the base Saint Course spending on this event will be 90. That's excluding servants at this point. We're not even talking about that. Now, moving on. Now, what we discussed was only the caster class. You will also have to do the same thing for every female servant that you possess for every other class, such as berserkers, lancers, archers, sabers, assassins, and riders as well. Now, if you were fortunate enough to collect every female servant that has been released so far, there is a total of 40 Valentine's Chocolate Crafting Essence that you can receive. In other words, you're going to need to collect around 6,000 Choco Coins in total. So you got about a week, so yeah, you might want to jump on that. Now to talk about the event shop, we're going to be getting material chocolates, which will be the event currency this time around, and we'll be having a chance to get a whole bunch of goodies. There's the Melty Sweetheart Crafting Essence, the Snake Jewels, Forbidden Pages, Homunculus Babies, Octuplet Crystals, Phoenix Plumes, Reverse Dragon Scales, and the Crystallized Lore. Yes, completing the event in its entirety will not merit you a Crystallized Lore this time around. You'll have to actually spend 1,000 of the material chocolates in order to get the Crystallized Lore. And moving on, we have Servant Pieces, Servant Monuments, Experience Cards, Full Stack Cards, and Mana Prisms. So you'll be able to merit about 1,000 mana prisms if you so clear out this shop. Also there's QP, but that's what we're using the mana prisms to hopefully help farm a little bit better. Now let's talk about the summoning campaign. For the summoning campaign, there will be the raid up servant Nero Claudius Bride. The Choco Lady commemorative event will last for about a week. So, on each individual day, they will have a different rate up servant or servants on the list. So first up we will have Soli, Nero Claudius Bride, then we have Arturia Pendragon, Altera, Joan the Arc, Orion, Tamama no Mai, Francis Drake, Jack the Ripper, Mordred, and finally, once again, a solo Nero Claudius Bride on every day of the event. As previously mentioned, the crafting essence for this event will be Street Choco Maid, Kitchen Patissiere, I cannot pronounce that to save my life, and Valentine Dojo of Tears. All three of these crafting essence fulfill 4 categories of versatility, great artwork, event beneficial, and limited time, which is why, according to our lovely little chart here, we will be spending 90 Saint Quartz on attempting to pull these crafting essences. Now let's talk about Nero Bride. She has a maximum Grail attack of 12,706 and a max Grail HP of 15,609, which is a pretty sizable amount of HP. Not that the attack is nothing to sneeze at either. She has a star absorption of 102, star generation of 10.1%, MP charge on attack of 0.7%, MP charge on defense of 3%, and a def rate of 35%. She has the standard Saber deck of Quick Arts Buster Buster, which hits for 3 times, 3 times, 1 time, and an extra attack of 5 times. Talking about the active skills, first up we have Stars in Heaven A. It will increase one ally's MP generation rate for 3 turns, starting at 35%, moving upwards to 45%. Moving on to her second skill is Flowers on Earth A. It increases one ally's attack for 3 turns, increases their star generation rate for 3 turns as well. Her attack, the attack buff will start at 30%, climbing to 40%, as well as the star rate starting at 30%, but in turn climbing to 50% instead. Her third skill is Love to the People A. It will heal the target ally and increase their defense for 3 turns. The heal will start at 1,000 and end at 3,000, whereas the defense buff will start at 10% and end at 20%. One good thing about Nero Bride is that all of her skills are targetable, meaning you can pick the recipient of these skills. This makes her a very versatile servant, so not only can she be a standalone servant, she can also support her allies as well. Her passive skills are Magic Resistance C, which increases debuff resistance by 15%, and Quick Card Performance for Riding B by 8%. Her Noble Phantasm, Closing Rows That Fame Stars, because I cannot pronounce that specific name. I think it's Fox Cell. I'm just going to embarrass myself trying to pronounce it. Moving on. It is an anti-unit Archetype Noble Phantasm. It will deal extremely powerful damage to a single enemy. Now, it's not kidding when it says extremely powerful, seeing as it starts at a 900% output and ending at a 1500% output if you somehow manage to get it to MP5. Not only that, it will apply burn to an enemy, defense down to an enemy, and crit chance down to an enemy for 5 turns total. The burn damage will start at 500 and end at 900, whereas crit defense down and crit chance down and defense down will start at 20%, ending at 40% for a debuff. That is until you upgrade the Noble Phantasm by completing an interlude. Then it will start at a damage output of 1200% and end up with 1800%. Then the burn damage will start at 1000 and end at 2000 if you manage to get it once again to MP5. However, the defense and crit debuff will still only go from 20% to 40%. Now, with all that being said, Nero Bride is a fantastic Archetype Saber Servant, but do you really need to summon for her? What I mean by that there is another Archetype Saber Servant that is most likely coming out right around the corner. And by right around the corner, I mean probably right after this event ends. And who I mean by that is Ryoku Shiki Saber. Now, Ryoku Shiki Saber is a 5-star servant who is also of the arts variety. What I mean by that is that she can also arch Brave Chain as well. She has a maximum Grail attack of 11,736 and a maximum Grail HP of 16,929. Now, her maximum Grail attack is lower than Nero Bride's, but she does have a higher max Grail HP. Her star absorption is 102, but her star generation is 9.9%, a little bit lower than Nero Bride, but not by much. Her MP charge on attack is 0.84%, a little bit higher than Nero Bride. Now, her MP charge on defense is 3%, as is per the norm for Saber-type servants. However, she sports a lower death rate of 24.5%. Lower is always better. Now, we all know the typical Saber deck, so we're not going to go over that. Let's go to the active skills instead. Now, her first skill is very interesting, Mystic Eyes of Death Perception C. It will gain a Pierce Invincibility for 1 turn, increase own Arts card performance for 1 turn, and reduce all enemies' death resistance for 1 turn as well. Now, the Arts boost will start at 25% and end at a 40% bonus. The death resistance debuff will start at 60% and end at 80%. Her second skill is Cloud Shine B. It will increase own attack for 3 turns and increase own mental debuff resistance for 3 turns as well. The attack buff will start at 15%, scaling upwards to 25%. Debuff resistance will start at 18%, however, and move on to 36%. Now, her last skill is Yin Yang A. It will recover own HP but drain MP gauge by 10%. The heal will start at 2,000 HP and end at 5,000. Now, for her passive skills, we have Magic Resistance A, which increases debuff resistance by 20%, Independent Manifestation C, which will increase critical damage, debuff resistance, and death resistance by 6%. Then we have lastly Connection to the Root A. It will increase Quick Card, Arts Card, and Buster Card performance by 6%. Moving down to her Noble Phantasm of the EX rank is the anti-unit Noble Phantasm, Mukushi Kara no Kyokai. This is an Arts type, area of effect Noble Phantasm that will deal defense ignoring damage to all enemies. And not only that, it will cure party debuffs as well. Now, the damage will start at 450% and end at 750%. Then, the secondary skill at 100% will have a chance to instantly kill the enemy starting at 60% and moving all the way up to 100% at MP5. Alright, to compare the two 5-star servants, we're going to use this little application right here. So here we have Nero Claudius Bride and Ryoga Shiki. Now this comparison is made at assuming they're at their max stats and max stats, max skill level, and max MP level. So we can already see Ryoga Shiki has her 40% bonus to her arts and her 25% attack bonus to her attack. Nero Bride will have an MP gain of 45%, star gen of 50%, and an attack bonus of 40%, assuming all of her skills are active on her. So, going down here, we're going to assume that they're going to be performing a Arch Brave Chain, the maximum amount of damage that they can put out all at once. So first up, we have Nero Bride. So for her Noble Phantasm against the Saber Servant, she'll be doing a maximum of 162,017. Second attack, 10,801, blah blah blah, to a grand total of 201,171. Also, she'll generate about 18 at max critical stars and pretty much be almost ready to unleash another Noble Phantasm. Now, if we look at Ryoga Shiki, servant number 2, alright, for her Noble Phantasm, she'll have an output of about 86,000. And then adding all of her other attacks up, she'll only reach about 129,018. So that's drastically lower than Nero Bride's. However, Nero Bride's Noble Phantasm is a single target Noble Phantasm. If we also take into account that the field is full, so that, in other words, that there are another 2 enemies for Ryoga Shiki to take advantage of, that will triple the amount of damage of her original Noble Phantasm damage for roughly about 250,000. So that will actually bring her attack total damage over Nero Bride. It's hard to fairly compare these two servants, but here we go anyway. For the active skills, I'm going to give Nero the win. For their first skill, Nero Bride will have a higher MP generation. Ryoga Shiki will have a higher arts damage, an increased MP generation, and will also be able to pierce invincibility and increase the chances to instantly kill the enemy. The second skill, Nero Bride will have a much higher attack boost by about 80%, and she will increase her star generation, whereas Ryoga Shiki will have a sizable attack boost, but only also boosts mental debuff. For the last skill, Ryoga Shiki will heal much more than Nero Bride. However, the 10% MP drain to use this heal, it makes it slightly less than Nero Bride, since she heals and increases defense, not to mention all of her skills are targetable, which makes it much more versatile. For the passive skills, Ryoga Shiki gets the win. Ryoga Shiki has a much higher magic resistance, being at A, whereas Nero Bride is only at C. Also, she has Independent Manifestation, which boosts her critical damage, debuff resist, and def resist, whereas Nero's Riding B skill only increases crit card performance by 8%, and she only has 1 crit card. Not only that, Ryoga Shiki also has connection to the root A, which increases quick art and buster performance, albeit by 6%, but it's still a noticeable increase. For Noble Phantasm, Ryoga Shiki will also get the win. Ryoga Shiki wins the Noble Phantasm for 2 main reasons. Reason number 1, this is set up in such a way that each servant makes the most use of their Noble Phantasm, and seeing as Ryoga Shiki's Noble Phantasm is a wave clear, she will, in the long run, deal out more damage against the enemies. Not only that, for the second reason, she has a chance to instantly kill the enemies. So regardless of whatever or however much HP they have, it will instantly kill them, so it's rather moot. With all those things taken into account, I deem that Ryoga Shiki is slightly better than Nero Bride, since she has more gimmicks to which she can take advantage of than Nero Bride does with her brute force. So, with that being said, and since Nero Bride will be coming back out later this year during the Nero Festival, I'm going to deem Ryu Gushiki the winner of this comparison. That means I will not be rolling for Nero Bride at this time. Rather, I will be waiting for about a week where I assume Ryu Gushiki will be coming out, which I will be very hardly rolling for her. In other words, 400 Saint Chords right off the bat. I'm pretty sure that's how much it's going to take. I hope. Really, I hope less, but hey, what do you know? Even though we're not attempting to try to get Nero Bride this time around, that doesn't mean we can't take her out for a test ride. Seeing as right now there will be a Nero Bride trial quest, which means you can give her a go. So, once you complete this quest, you will get a golden summoning ticket, and hopefully a Heart of the Foreign Gods. Always looking for those. And not only that, wrapping this up with interludes, Alante will be getting a strengthening to her Noble Phantasm, along with Skathash, and Tamama no Mai and Frankenstein, upon their interludes, will strengthen their skills. Fox Wedding for Tamama no Mai, and if memory hold, I can't remember the name of her skill, but it's her second skill that has a defense debuff for enemies. So who are you going to summon for? Are you going to summon for Nero Bride, or are you going to save up for Ryu Gushiki? Or for Gene Alter, like I hear a lot of people have been trying to do? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, guys and gals, bye-bye.